Frankie and the Witch Fingers, and you're in the house with Houzeofwaxx.
Wax here for Houzeofwaxx. We're here with the band Frankie and the Witch Fingers, and we're going to dive into what makes the band what it is. We're here in Baltimore at Metro Gallery Theater to get ready to go on. They were nice enough to do a small interview before they go on. They just came in from New Jersey, so we're not going to keep them too long. We'll just have everybody introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Pickle. I'm the bass player.
I'm Nick. I play drums.
I'm Josh. I play guitar.
I'm Dylan, and I play guitar and I sing.
Right. So there was a question that was floating around, so we'll probably just start with that question. So how did the band get the name Frankie and the Witch Fingers?
Frankie and the Witch Fingers came from my kitty cat. His name is Frankie, and now he lives with a good friend of ours.
Okay.
Her name is Virginia. She's taking really good care of him.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
He's living his best life.
Living his best 9 lives.
What life is he on?
4 at least.
So how long has the band been together?
Dylan and I started playing together in 2012 or 2013. So yeah, it's coming up on 10 years now.
Oh man, okay.
Started playing with Pickle in 2020 and Nick 2021, just at the end here. So
Okay.
this iteration has been around since December.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So what is your favorite city? That you guys toured in. Like, what would your favorite city be?
Like in the U.S. or throughout the world?
That's just your answer to answer.
Oh man, I mean that's probably all different for all of us, but I don't know, man. It all depends. Certain cities in the U.S. go way harder than other cities in the U.S., and I think it's safe to say that Europe in general goes a little bit harder,
Right.
like as far as audience responsiveness goes.
Right.
I don't know. Personally, my favorite city was probably Bordeaux, France.
Okay.
It was amazing. As far as the U.S., I don't know, man. We played in New York the other day, and maybe it's just because it's fresh in my mind, but we played in the Bushwick area.
Okay.
And it was wild. It was one of the best shows I've ever played. I had so much fun. But yeah, I can't really complain about most cities, honestly.
I really liked playing in Berlin and in Europe, and I really like playing in Austin
Okay.
in the U.S. And we're going to go to Australia this year, and I can't wait to pick a favorite city there.
Okay. That's awesome.
Doing cities.
Yeah.
Love New York. Love Chicago. Love Atlanta. We've always had good shows there. Yeah. In Europe, I love Spain. The
Okay.
crowd just I don't know. It's different there. It's just
right.
way more open. Just no one's trying to be cool. Everyone's just there to have fun.
Right.
And it really shows.
You guys kind of covered all of mine. I think collectively we all like the same cities. We've had so many shared experiences.
Okay, so what would your personal other musicians influences be? Who were you guys influenced by? Does anybody come to mind?
The first person that popped into my head was Lou Reed. I really like the way he plays guitar and his songwriting style. I really love Lou Reed. I'll probably always love Lou Reed. There's artists that come and go in your life inspirationally, but I think if anyone puts Velvet Underground on, I'm happy.
Just anyone that kind of pushes the envelope for me, during their time would make something that hadn't been heard before. And a lot of that isn't even rock music. John Coltrane's one of those people for me. Just blew jazz wide open.
Right.
And doesn't matter what genre you're playing, what instrument you're playing, that's admirable as an artist for me, as a creator.
That's what's up.
For me, my dad, because he was the one who got me into music in general at a very young age, and probably a band called the Minutemen from San Pedro, where I'm born and raised, and that I grew up liking music and whatever my dad liked, so he was the gateway. But discovering that there was like great legendary music like right in my backyard, like kind of like changed my life at a very young age. So yeah, the Minutemen from San Pedro, and then that kind of opened up my mind to everything else, like what he even said, like John Coltrane.
That's awesome.
I think David Bowie. I never get sick of David Bowie.
Right.
I'm always like learning new aspects of his career and what kind of person he was.
Because he was a little bit private. You know, I think like as he got later into his career, and I think once he like passed away, I think people it like opened up a little bit more because more people were willing to talk about, you know, stories of him and, you know, how he was or whatever. Like this story's still coming out. You know what I mean? And that's just like, you know, crazy because it's like I think I respect him now because I grew up in the 80s, so it was like MTV, so it was like, you know, you're kind of spoiled because it's like you get to see him and the album. Everybody's putting the album out like every 2 weeks back in the 80s. You know what I mean? So it was like, you know, Boy George and, you know, all of them. So you were just like, yeah, whatever. So now that he's gone, it's like you kind of respect his career way more. You know what I mean? So like I didn't expect for, you know, nobody to say, you know, like David Bowie or whatever. That's pretty awesome. You know what I mean? So what does rock and roll mean to like you guys? Like if you had to give a definition of what it meant to you personally, like what would rock mean to you?
To me, rock and roll just kind of means like freedom, freedom of expression, high energy, you know, letting your freak flag fly, you know, just like going out there and doing the damn thing. And, you know, that's what it means to me personally.
Yeah, it's kind of, for me, I don't know, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I'd probably have a different answer, but how much we've been playing lately and what I feel from it, it's almost like just like getting demons out, like therapeutic.
Right.
I've gone into so many shows feeling weird and like feeling uncomfortable, and then as soon as we finish playing a show, I'm just like, yeah, that's what it's all about. I don't know. Just,
Therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, rock and roll to me is like, I mean, it's historic. It's like transcends time. It's something that you get to be a part of now, but it has such a long lineage that I don't know. You feel connected to performers of the past through this like intangible medium.
Right.
It's like it's time travel.
Okay. So I have like a generic question to ask. So like, I'm going to piggyback off that first question as far as, you know, what rock and roll means to you guys. So what, like, you know, when's the first time you actually fell in love with rock and roll? Like, you know, when's like the first time it actually hit home, like, you know what, this is actually what I want to do. Like, I know I'm in love with rock and roll. So, you know, when was the first time, if you guys can remember?
For me, it was the band AC/DC.
Okay.
I used to go to a lot of like baseball games, Padres, San Diego Padres, and we had this pitcher who'd come out at the very end, and they would blast Hell's Bells by AC/DC. And that was like the most hype moment of any sports game I've ever been to.
Okay.
We became obsessed. My brother and I became obsessed with that band, bought every CD, bought the same guitar he uses, and that's just like, yeah, just felt like nothing else. You know, they're on the radio and stuff, but they're just so raw.
Right.
Like just raw, no effects, just I don't know. That was rock and roll to me. And then, you know, getting older, I still listen to them and feel that like same thing. Yeah.
Rock and roll, I think, has been a part of my life since I was a baby. My dad was in bands, and my mom used to say that when she would come home from work, my little like baby carrier would be like sitting in the middle of the floor in my dad's like band practice room, and she'd be like, "Oh my God, her ears! What are you doing?" But I've had rock and roll like pumped into me ever since a young age, so it's always been there. And I think I fell in love with it like as a teenager, and then I re-fell in love with it when I started playing it as an adult.
Yeah, I fell in love with it when I was like, I want to say like 6 years old, when my dad, you know, he would just kind of like subtly play his favorite bands around me, like Rush and Black Sabbath and Sly and the Family Stone and Bruce Springsteen, stuff like that. But when I was 10 years old, I started playing drums, and I was always like kind of like the awkward, like kind of chubby kid in like elementary school and stuff. And 5th grade talent show, I played drums, and I'm not tooting my own horn. Like, I stole the show. And like I got like a crazy like reception from like my peers and adults, and like that kind of was like my moment where I was like, all right, like I think I found what I'm good at,
Right.
Oh, so man. Since I was like 10 years old, I knew I basically like, all right, if I'm gonna do something that I'm meant to do, it's probably this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like rock and roll has changed, from being a kid and like listening to it and just kind of like feeding off the energy of it, and then to actually going and like performing it. It's kind of what Nick said earlier, with it's just like it's freedom, or what you were saying about it being like a cathartic expression. It's like when you're a kid and you're hearing it, it's like you're already a little speedball of energy, and then when you're an adult and you don't know, or you maybe there's different ways to channel energy, like rock and roll is this purest form of releasing it all at once, and then people giving it back to you, or releasing it back to you.
Right. So, has therapy ever been like, have you ever found yourself like in a place like either stressed, depressed, or something where rock and roll has actually helped?
Every day.
Every day? Okay.
I'll say right now, I go to therapy, and I'll tell you right now, when I play a good show, kind of like in New Jersey last night, where I felt like I did great, and the audience expressed it like in that way with like their energy and stuff, the way you feel after that is like better than any therapy session I've ever been to in my entire life. Like awesome. The kind of high that you like, the natural high that you have from like the synergy with your bandmates and a good crowd is like, if everybody could feel that way, I feel like the world would be such a better place,
I hear you. Definitely.
Yeah, I think music is super therapeutic. I think it's like the job of musicians to kind of, and artists in general, to kind of like interpret moments or feelings or like intangible thoughts and make them tangible, either through visual art or through music.
Right.
And it like distills that concept down. Okay. And so I think, yeah, for me, like music, rock and roll, it tells the story of what I'm feeling in a nice, succinct way, and it kind of helps me process it better. So if you're sad or upset and you listen to something that like tugs on those exact strings of emotion for you, it kind of like, it soothes you and helps you process those things. Or if it does for me.
Okay. Wrapping up the interview. If you guys, your younger selves, can meet your older selves, what advice would you give your younger self of what you know now? And you can go back and talk to your younger self. What advice would you give your younger self?
Don't do hard drugs.
Hey man,
I'm just kidding.
Right. I feel like we on Family Feud. Like, good answer.
I don't know, sometimes I'll be like, I think like I could have done better in school, I could have graduated college, but even if I did all that stuff, I'd still be doing what I do now.
So it's for the love of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess just like love yourself more, even when times are tough.
Right.
Figured that out more recently.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's funny you asked this because, when I was like in elementary school and middle school and high school, I very felt ostracized in a lot of ways from my peers because I was like the weird guy that didn't play sports and, was into music and, just where I grew up, that just wasn't really like too much of a thing. So I was always like the weird guy, and I always felt so alone, and I always felt like I was so like, I always wanted to be accepted.
Right.
And I wish I could go back and like shake younger me from like 8 years old to like even like 18 years old and be like, yo, dude, none of this matters. Like, just this will not matter at all. Just keep doing you, keep doing what you know you're good at, and it'll pay off. And it's starting to, you know.
I think hands down, I started playing music when I was an adult, and hands down, I would go back and tell myself, like, just play music. You will realize that you love this eventually. Just start now. Like, don't doubt yourself and undermine yourself. Just give it a shot. And yeah, like, and I would tell myself, don't waste time on people that don't make you happy.
There it is. There it is. Well, they got a show to do, so we're gonna, let them go. We're gonna wrap it up, and we want to thank them for, taking time to, to meet with us and sharing their personal thoughts, on their career and their journey. We want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank J-Boy Entertainment, Rock Girls 80, Z Management. We want to thank our followers, and just mental health matters. Let's talk about it. Like in America, we gotta do better. We gotta do better. So thank everybody for supporting us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.